Welcome to our first podcast on the Plus English channel. In this chat, we will discuss the ideal attire for medical professionals to wear at lectures and meetings with peers.
All right, so you're a doctor and you've got some big presentations and important meetings coming up.
Uh-huh.
And you really want to make sure you're dressed right, projecting that professional image.
Yeah.
So today we're diving deep into this idea of professional attire just for physicians.
Yeah.
We're going to help you figure out how to really make a great first impression in any medical setting.
It's interesting, because I think a lot of people don't realize that your clothing choices in medicine, they're like a really powerful communication tool. You're sending a message.
Oh, absolutely.
Before you even say a word.
Yeah, you're speaking through your clothes.
Exactly.
So let's start with like a high-stakes scenario.
Okay.
You're prepping for a huge presentation,
Okay.
maybe at an international conference,
Right.
or you're giving a lecture at a prestigious university.
Sure.
What are some of the go-to style strategies to really command attention and respect in that kind of setting?
Well, I think in a formal setting like that, you really want to aim for a look that's sophisticated and authoritative. Something that says, I'm a leader in my field.
Yeah.
So think about tailored pieces, things that fit you really well.
Mm-hmm.
And stick with classic colors like navy blue gray or black.
Timeless.
Those colors, they just communicate competence and attention to detail.
It's like you've got it all together.
Exactly.
So for men, that classic suit and tie,
Yeah.
that's still the power move.
Absolutely. I think it's a timeless look that always conveys professionalism.
But are there any style nuances to keep in mind when choosing a suit or a tie?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'd say opt for a light-colored shirt like white or pale blue.
Okay.
It creates a nice crisp contrast with the darker suit. And when it comes to the tie,
Yeah.
choose something that adds a little personality, but nothing too flashy or distracting. You know what I mean?
Keep it subtle.
Exactly. So think maybe a subtle pattern or a nice texture.
Understated elegance.
Exactly. And don't forget the shoes. Make sure they're polished and in good condition.
Because people notice.
They do. It shows you care about the details.
So for women attending these formal presentations, is it a similar idea?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You want to go for that same kind of polished and professional look.
Okay.
So a well-tailored pantsuit or skirt suit in those classic colors we talked about, it's always a good choice.
Great.
And again, keep the patterns subtle and avoid anything too trendy or distracting.
Makes sense. Now, what about shoes and accessories? Any advice on how to find that perfect balance?
Sure. For women, I'd say closed toe pumps or low to medium heels are a great option.
Okay.
They look professional and they're comfortable enough to wear for a longer presentation.
Comfort is key.
Absolutely. And for both men and women, I think accessories should be minimal and elegant.
Mm-hmm.
So like a classic watch, maybe some simple earrings or a delicate necklace.
Keep it understated.
Yeah, you don't want anything that's going to compete for attention with what you're saying.
All right, so we've tackled those formal presentations.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift gears a bit. Okay, imagine you're meeting with colleagues for like a departmental meeting, or maybe you're collaborating on a project.
Right.
Can you relax the dress code a little in those settings?
I think you can be a little more relaxed, but it's still really important to maintain that air of professionalism.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between being comfortable and looking put together.
Business casual.
Exactly.
Now, for men in those business casual settings, what would you recommend?
I think a good go-to look is tailored trousers paired with a long-sleeved shirt.
Oh.
You can add a tie if you want to dress it up a little.
Yeah.
Or a blazer for some added structure.
A blazer always adds a nice touch.
It does. And for shoes, I think loafers or some nice dress shoes would work well.
All right, so what about women? What are some good business casual options for them?
Well, it's pretty similar to what we talked about for men.
Okay.
So tailored trousers, a nice midi skirt or a dress that's not too revealing.
Right. Yeah, something appropriate for the workplace.
Exactly. Pair those with some nice blouses or elegant sweaters. And just like with men, a blazer can really elevate the look.
It's a good go-to piece.
It is. And for shoes, flats, loafers, or low to medium heels are all good options.
Okay, so whether we're talking formal presentations or those more relaxed meetings,
Right.
there's this underlying theme of projecting professionalism.
Definitely.
Are there any overarching style tips or strategies that apply across the board?
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things is to stick with those more subdued or pastel colors. They convey a sense of seriousness and credibility.
Okay.
And if you do choose to wear patterns, make sure they're subtle and not overwhelming.
Good advice.
And of course, we can't forget about the lab coat.
Oh, right. The quintessential doctor symbol.
Exactly. In some settings like a hospital or clinic, a clean, crisp lab coat can really reinforce your professional identity.
Makes sense.
It also instills a sense of trust and authority in patients.
Yeah, it's like a visual cue that says, I'm the expert.
Exactly.
Now, beyond clothing, are there other grooming aspects that are super important for making a positive impression?
Oh, absolutely. I think personal hygiene is paramount.
Right.
Make sure your hair is well groomed and any facial hair is neatly trimmed.
Yeah, got to keep it tidy.
Exactly. And your nails should be clean and tidy too.
Those little things make a difference.
They really do. And if you wear makeup, keep it light and natural looking.
Right.
And perfume should be used sparingly.
Don't want to overwhelm anyone.
Exactly. All these little details contribute to that overall impression of professionalism and attention to detail.
It's amazing how much those subtle things can impact how people perceive us. I want to touch on comfort because, especially for those longer presentations,
Right.
I imagine that's got to play a role.
Yeah, comfort is essential.
Yeah.
If you're not physically comfortable, it's going to show.
Right, you won't be able to focus.
Exactly. So make sure your clothing fits well and allows you to move freely.
Good point.
And choose fabrics that breathe and shoes that won't be killing you by the end of the day.
Yeah, you want to be able to focus on your presentation, not your aching feet. And, of course, we have to remember those practical considerations, like the weather and local customs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you're traveling for a presentation or a meeting, be sure to check the weather forecast and dress accordingly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about those local customs?
Well, if you're presenting in another country, it's really important to be mindful of any cultural norms or expectations around clothing.
Right. Be respectful.
Exactly. Being prepared and showing that respect, it demonstrates professionalism and cultural sensitivity.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up today, I think you've given us a really fantastic framework for approaching professional attire in a variety of medical settings.
My pleasure.
It's all about understanding how clothing communicates and using that to project the image you want.
Exactly. And I think the most important thing to remember is that the right attire can not only influence how others perceive you, but it can also impact your own mindset.
How so?
Well, when you dress the part, you kind of step into that role with more confidence and authority. And that can actually help you achieve your goals.
So dress for the role you want to embody.
Exactly.
And it can actually have a positive impact on your performance.
I think so. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
I love that. That's a great takeaway for our listeners today.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
And we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.
See you then.
Plus English Channel.